Yo, what's good guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe and to join the family because I drop tutorials just like this and everything related to audio every single day. There's not many people doing that. Welcome, we missed you. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about how to find success as a mix engineer or really a producer, mastering engineer, artist, anything in music, even beyond music. This could just be good life advice. It's going to be how to find success or how to stumble upon success. So let's go. All right, so today we're going to be watching a little clip from the My Audio Nerds podcast from Help Me Devon. I love their channel, love their content, recommend everything on there. Particularly the podcast, it's great. I've seen every episode that's available on YouTube. It's just a great way to learn. A lot of information. They have different famous engineers on that provide their perspective, and we're going to be checking out one today from Leslie Brathwaite, and it's just great, and it's really entertaining. But anyways, we're going to be checking out this little piece of a story here, and then I'm going to tell you about how this can relate to your career and how you can find success in the same way, maybe on a different level, but this is tried and true. I've had a similar experience for myself. The story was very different for me, but the outcome was similar. So anyways, with that being said, let's take a look at this. This is fair use for teaching purposes. Let's go.
Time Madonna was there, they would be working in the big room with the other engineer, and I'm just practicing my mixes.
Right.
One day I'm in there, and Madonna walks in the room.
Okay.
It's just me.
Just randomly. And you turn back like, okay.
Yeah, just me.
Right.
Just doing rough mixes. She walks in the room. She's like, oh, hey. I was like, hi. She was like, how are you? And I was like, I'm good. She was like, who are you? And I was like, my name is Leslie. I'm, one of Dallas's engineers.
Right.
She was like, oh. She was like, I heard your name somewhere. She was like, Dallas probably mentioned you or something.
Right.
Right?
Right.
She was like, you mind if I sit in here for a minute? I was like, no, please. And then we started talking.
Madonna just said, you might be just like, chat.
So then
Okay.
we talked, had a good conversation.
Right.
She left out.
Right.
Oh, and she asked me, she was like, well, what are you doing? I was like, well.
And I just want to point out, keep in mind here, he's a very renowned, successful, famous engineer at this point, but when he's telling the story, he was sort of on his come up and he didn't have the accolades that he currently did. And this story is going to be about how he kind of got there. So, all right, let's continue.
We record this artist, Monica, who he just signed, and I'm just sitting here doing all the rough mixes, getting them, just getting the mixes right. And
Right.
da-da-da.
Right.
So she walks out the room.
Okay.
Next day, same thing. Right around the same time, she comes in my room. She was like, hello again. I was like, hey. She comes in, she sits down, she had a salad with her. She said, you mind if I eat my lunch in here? So what I realized, what I soon realized is my little space in my room was her refuge. She used to come in my room to duck off
Everybody
all
else.
the
Everybody else.
stuff.
Right.
Because Dallas had 2 big rooms, 2 small rooms.
Right.
And DARP Studios at the time was that premier studio in
Yeah.
Atlanta that everybody was at.
Right. It was loopy.
There were days when it would literally be Boyz II Men, TLC, ABC, Busta Rhymes, because when Busta left the Leaders of the New, he came down here
To ATL. Gotcha.
to ATL. And Dallas was the one who told him, hey, you got to put hooks in your songs and all this stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So they would all be hanging around DARP.
right.
So DARP was like a fucking animal house almost every day.
Right.
So my little room
Was
the
just-
C room, I'm
right.
just mixing it. It's just me.
Right.
And see, I don't think I was considered the square, but I'm saying nobody's gonna hang out in my room
Right.
because I don't drink, I don't smoke,
Right.
I don't do none of the things that everybody else
Right.
did.
Right.
So they just kind of left me alone. They know, like
Right.
Leslie don't smoke. Let's not even offer him any
Right.
weed.
Just leave him off.
Leave him alone.
Yeah. Right.
So she would come in every day
Clean room.
like clockwork and
Right.
just sit down and eat her lunch, and we would have all these conversations.
Right.
Okay, so fast forward. So she goes back to LA. Now it's time to mix the records. So said engineer who was recording with her,
Right.
he goes back in his room. I'm back with Dallas. We start working on Deborah Cox. So I'm back recording.
Okay.
And then Madonna calls one day. He has her on speakerphone. A lot of times Dallas would take his calls while I was in the room. It's just
Gotcha.
me and him.
Okay.
So he got Madonna on speakerphone. She says, hey, so I'm not really liking how these mixes are coming out. And, I don't know. And then Dallas was like, okay, well, we can figure it out and I'll get, so-and-so to come in and talk to you and see what, And she was like, wait a minute. So-and-so? And I'm using the word so-and-so
Sure.
in place of his name.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
She was like, so-and-so? Oh, she was like, oh, no. no. He can't mix my records. He was my recording engineer.
That time.
Light bulb went off right then.
Right. Right.
So she was like, oh, he was my recording engineer. He can't mix my records.
Right.
And she was like, well, wait a minute. So what does Leslie do? Because wasn't Leslie the one that, when you sent me the beats to even pick from, wasn't he the one that did the rough mixes on those?
Oh, man.
And then she was like, and every day I'm walking into Leslie's room and he's mixing your artist. She was like, he should be the one mixing my record.
Nice.
And I was like,
Wow. Nice.
I
Fact. Shout out
understood in
Madonna.
that moment
Right.
that her mentality and a lot of artists' mentality was, the guy who records me can't be the one that mixes me because this is very specialty. It's like, I don't want the guy who does general surgery to also do my brain surgery.
Understood.
I want the dude who only does brain surgery.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want the guy who also knows how to take out an appendix and deliver a baby and that. No, I want if you're gonna operate on my brain, you have had to been doing this for the past 30 years of your life.
Right. Sure. Understood.
So that's how she's looking at it.
Right.
And I got it in that moment.
Right.
And so now, mind you, this is happening. That conversation happened before Clive Davis even said to Dallas, Leslie needs to be the one to mix the Monica record.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm still getting these
Oh,
rough
so
mixes
this was
right.
before that even
This is
transpired.
in that time.
Wow. Okay.
So then he got, so Dallas is cooking in his brain like, he got Madonna saying, hey, can I fly Leslie out and we just mix him out here?
Right.
And then he got Clive Davis, before I go out to Madonna, he got Clive Davis saying to him, well, why don't we just use Leslie's mix for Monica? So now in his brain, I'm starting to develop as a mixer.
Right. It's
You
like,
see what I'm
oh, I
saying?
got to mix. I feel like for him, he's like, oh, I got to mix. Oh, yeah, I got to mix guy. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Deborah Cox, we start working with Deborah
Right.
in Atlanta. I'm out in LA with Madonna mixing, and people are walking in the session. Deborah walks in the session, says hi to Madonna. It's like,
Right.
oh, Leslie, what you doing here? Oh, I'm mixing Madonna's records. Baby Freaks walks in to say hi to Madonna. Les, what's going on? Because, I know
That's
Face
wavy.
from Atlanta.
Right.
Oh, you out here mixing Madonna? Oh, wait. Can I fly you to Tahoe afterwards to mix these TLC records?
That's hard. That's fine.
You see what I'm saying?
That's hard.
It just...
It kept going.
And,
The blessings kept
and
coming.
since
Snowball.
then,
Right.
snowball
Yeah.
down the hill.
And that was it.
Everybody calling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Shout
So
out
you mixed.
to Atlanta.
Yeah. Shout out to.
So that's a cool story. We all love, those come up stories or those success stories where you just find your big break, right? That's a tried and true story. And I'm not saying that you're going to have this happen where you're going to be in a studio and Madonna's going to be eating her salad with you and then you're going to mix for her, right? That's not the exact point. The point is that he was in the right place at the right time. And I'm not saying this to say that, oh, you just have to be in the right place at the right time and get lucky. No, I'm saying that by always doing everything you can, being everywhere, eventually you will be in the right place in the right time. So you don't wait to be lucky, you create your luck. And this doesn't have to be physically. You don't have to physically be in the right place at the right time. You can do this online. You could have worked with the right person remotely and someone hears it and then they reach out to you, right? And you heard him, he said it snowballed. So just by being in that specific room that Madonna just so happened to eat her lunch in, he just so happened to then mix for her because someone else had just so happened to not get their mix right. And she made that connection and then he did it. And then because of that, he was working with everyone and it snowballed. And, I don't want to over exaggerate, but you could almost say that just because of that, his whole career went the way it did. And imagine if he, I don't know, was in a bad mood that day and didn't let Madonna eat in there or something. Obviously you wouldn't miss up on that opportunity, but you get the point where what if you just don't show up one day and that just so happened to be the day that this was going to happen, and it's like the butterfly effect, and then that would have caused this, right? A chain reaction of events that would have led to your success. So the point that you want to take away from this is always be doing everything you can to maximize the possibility of that moment happening that's going to snowball the rest of your career and perhaps your life. And that's why I said at the beginning of this video, this can apply to all types of lanes in music, whether mixing, mastering, producing, artists, even outside of music, just in life, anything that you want to do, you got to maximize your chances of getting lucky. You got to create your luck. And then is there even really luck at that point, right? So some practical examples are maybe you're not feeling like, I don't know if I want to finish this mix or do this job for this person, but if you do, you might think it's not worth it. But what if that mix you do and you feel like, I feel like I got underpaid, it wasn't worth it. But what if then the artist puts it out 6 months from then, another artist hears it, and that artist reaches out to you. And then they become a lifelong client. And then they blow up, and then everyone knows you Wix for them. And then now everyone's coming to you because of that, right? You never know the web of events that's going to occur because you did one thing. So by always doing everything in your power and always making, the best decisions, I'm not saying to just say yes to everything. That's a different discussion. But by maximizing your presence, you're increasing your chances of this happening. And there's been instances, I can give you real life examples of this happening to me, not on this scale, but there's been times where I've worked with an artist and they only do one song, they don't come back, whether they quit music or maybe they didn't like my mix or right. I'm not saying I'm above that, but whatever it may be, they don't come back. But they're like, hey, I loved it. I told my friends about you. Their friend reaches out 3 months later. I might not even remember at first the connection. And then now they're a lifelong client. And then they tell their friends. And then this has actually happened before. Or someone will put out a song and they'll see that it's mixed by me and they don't even necessarily recommend me. There's no word of mouth, but just because their audience hears it, then they'll come to me. Or, there's a million examples of things like this happening. So you need to get out your name out there as much as possible, and you never know what's going to happen. And it might not be immediate. And honestly, most things you do won't have any effect like this. You might do a lot of things and you're going to get nothing from it. But you never know. So that's why you have to keep going, because it's kind of like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? That saying. You could do 99 things that are a complete failure and waste of time, but the last 100th thing, that one thing you do that does succeed, is not only going to pay off for itself, you're also going to make up for everything you lost in the first 99 things. And that is just going to keep exponentially growing and snowballing. I hope you get the point. I hope you take something from this. I hope this is a motivator, a mindset shifter, because I know how it can feel to be like, I feel like this isn't worth it or it's not going anywhere. And we're still going to feel like that. I still feel like that about everything all the time. So I'm talking to myself too. But anyways, hope you got something from this. Keep going, because you never know when something's going to take off. Anyways, guys, my name is Inswain with Inswain Audio. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and name your firstborn child after me. I don't know what's up with the algorithm, man. I'm just playing. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace!